Hi there YouTube, Extreme Trains here. So in this video I'm taking a look at another one of the 2026, I don't know if we can still keep calling them that now that they've been coming out in 2025, but it is the push-along metal collection engines, which are the reissues from 2019. In this video we'll be taking a look at Edward. He's one of the ones who I think has been perhaps getting the most controversy, except perhaps Gordon, who we haven't seen, or at least I haven't seen yet. We'll take a look at Edward, we'll compare him to his All Engines Go predecessor, and we'll have a chat about these new/old engines. What are we waiting for? Let's do it. Here is Edward. Now, infamous Edward perhaps. You can see he is in the new style of the metal collection boxes with that stripe down the side. We've got the CGI render of Edward there, Edward and Edward. Don't know if I said that right, probably not. You can see that's what he looks like. We'll talk about the writing underneath in a moment. Turn around to the back, and that's again all the information that we get. I'm glad that it's in color. Some of these have been in black and white. It's nice to have that blue stripe along the top, but like, would it kill them to have a little picture of some other engine there? We've seen what they can do with the Chinese versions of these boxes, and I showed that in my review of the Railway Series Thomas, Storybook Thomas. Do better, Mattel, do better. Also, why do you not include the train little Thomas barcode on all your products? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Anyway, that's what that looks like. Let's crack Edward open and take a look. Right, we'll pick the cursed Edward up and do the little spin. Okay, let's take a closer look at that face. I don't hate this Edward face. It's okay. I think maybe the pupils are a little bit small. They're giving season 12 Edward, which had like the demonic eyes, because the pupils were so small. I certainly think they probably could be a tiny bit bigger, but I don't hate this Edward's face. I also don't hate the proportions on him. He's quite thin, which is correct, thin and long, and I think this model actually does a surprisingly good job of capturing that. But again, it's that view from the front where the buffer beam is just a little bit too wide, and this part of the front is very thick that kind of throws off that look. It is also, again, really unfortunate that when they've remade these, they haven't added buffer printing. I mean, I don't think it would have been that hard. I mean, obviously, it would have been a process, I get it, but you're saving a lot of money by reusing these toolings. You could have at least added an extra printer so that we could have some buffer printing, but I suspect maybe they would have had to redo the whole manufacturing process. I don't know. The fact that they have had these toolings in reserve this whole time is fascinating to me. I've seen a couple of comments being like, oh, this must be reused stock. I would bet a lot of money that that is not the case. These have been remade, and the reason for that is because toy manufacturers, as far as I understand them, are not like booksellers. They don't buy back the excess stock. The stock goes to the stores, and once it goes to the stores, the toy company doesn't keep any. So I would think that these have been remade in 2025, 2026, and I note the packaging on the box, again, same as Diesel, says 2026. Coming around to the side profile, again, from the top half of Edward doesn't look terrible, although that kind of squashedness that is a common across this line is really evident here. I mean, really, Edward's cab should be quite a bit higher up here. It's nice we've got the wheel arches and these details, because again, I never collected the previous version of this engine, and you can see we've got a little whistle painted on there, but it is unfortunate that both sides are the same when he should have a little bit of difference with how that all looks. And, the elephant in the room is this chassis, and I don't know if mine's got a manufacturing defect there or not clear. It's this chassis and it's the wheel placement. I mean, it's nice, I suppose, that they've given Edward the new wheels. They do help the look, as I said the same thing with Diesel, and I do agree with Edward. It makes him look slightly less wide, but yeah, that wheel placement is just terrible. It just looks it's so un-Edward. It's so cheap knockoff toy. That's what this wheel placement is. It's just, like, even if they had just moved this wheel a bit further back, I think that would have been okay. Like, one wheel, even if they said we're only going to do 3 wheels, okay, fine. But for Edward especially, you could have just moved this back here. If this had lined up, if the wheels had been underneath the arches, this one already is, that would have made a huge difference, I think, to how this kind of looked. As it stands, it's a bit of a fail. Yeah, nothing on the back. Again, we've just got the coupling here. Come down to the bottom. You can see we've got that weird printing again. And again, it's really weird. It's totally different style of printing to what is on Thomas. Copyright 2020. Yeah, see, it's so weird. Like, this feels very much like a rush job. Because like, look at that font, and then again, Henry, it's a different font again. Yeah, but it's weird that they have been printed in this kind of shadow with that new production thing over the top. I suspect because perhaps they've had to do a new production printing process for this chassis to work. So they've reused this plastic part, but then they've had to go, which had the molding of the made in Thailand and the copyright information, but then they've had to kind of do some other weird stuff there. So yeah, don't love that. And then we come to the tenders, and I have, I think, the Origins James, which was done in this style back in my parents' place. And when I was visiting there the other weekend, I went and pulled it out, and I forgot how janky these tenders are. Like, I mean, Thomas Wood had janky tenders too, but Thomas Wood and Railway had this similar problem where they were these very tall, very like out of proportion tenders. But yeah, wow, these are terrible. The buffers being on the wrong way is like such a crime. Like, how did they get that wrong? The buffer should be on the back. If you're going to have buffers, which, I mean, these didn't have buffers, so it doesn't necessarily always make sense. But, like, why are they here? Oh, Lord, it's so bad. It's so bad. Like, anyway, yeah, this is a disaster. Detailing is nice. Printing is nice. Color's nice. This part of it is okay. This is a mess. And what's crazy about this is you have the small wheels. Like, you have the tender wheels. They're right here. They're literally here. Like, why did they not reuse the tender? I mean, I assume the reason they didn't put the small wheels on these is because would have had to redo this chassis. Like, they would have had to do this kind of scenario. But, you know, given they reused James's tender, why would they not reuse the All Engines Go Edward tender, which I'll look at in a second? Like, it looks so bad. It's just like... It's so unfortunate because there's actually it's this thing where it's a death by 1,000 cuts, and then you pull out someone like James and you put them next to each other, and it's so clear which one is the better toy. Like, 1,000 times better James. And I just don't understand why we did that. So let's take a look now at the predecessor Edward from All Engines Go. So, you can see this is the Edward which I did review on my channel from All Engines Go, and I actually quite like this Edward because even though it reused some parts, it had the proper wheel arrangement and it had a nice looking tender, and I thought it was cool. I really liked it. Why they didn't, and I think this is going to answer us the question. People are like, why didn't they reuse the Edward chassis from All Engines Go? Well, that's why. It's too big. It's too big, that's why. But let's just try something out right now. Right now. They did it with James. What do we think? Thoughts? Feelings? I'm very keen to hear what people's thoughts. Pretend that if those were the new 2025 wheels. Thoughts, feelings versus this. You know, I'm torn because I hate both of them. Sorry. But let's do maybe a better comparison. It's hard to imagine because of the colors, but I just really want to show you how little needed to be done to make this better. Yeah, see, what about this? This one looks better because it doesn't have that extra buffer on it. Could have done a sneaky, cheeky repaint of this to be blue. Yeah. I mean, I kind of see why they didn't do this. These two feel like they're from separate lines. And so, to be clear, this feels like it's kind of like a separate line from that. But because this was such a big redesign, it kind of got away with it. So I can understand conceptually, once again, can't get these companies apart, why they didn't do that replacement. But what this experiment shows is it wouldn't have taken much to do a little bit of changing here and there to make what the previous version of this toy was, which was pretty awesome, in my view, carry over at least to this new version of Edward. So, yeah. I think the haters are right about Edward, unfortunately. He is not the one. He's not the one. Yeah, and I think what's funny about going back to this tooling is just how little effort they were putting in at in this period of time in the franchise. Like, I know there are lots of haters for All Engines Go, and I understand that, even though I don't agree with the hate for All Engines Go. But the merchandise, they were really trying it on. Like, they really put a lot of effort. The die casts for All Engines Go are pretty fantastic in my view, and I've consistently said that in my reviews, which is why I've looked at them. So almost all of them I thought were pretty awesome. They really were trying to make the characters look like what were very hard to translate into toys because of the zaniness of All Engines Go. Here, you had fantastic toys, you downgraded them, you made them crap, and then you didn't try. Yeah, I mean, it's... To be honest, I'm somewhat surprised that Mattel even swapped out the wheels for these re-releases, because they didn't swap out the couplings. They're not the same color. They're not the same color. Wait, why? Why did they do this? Anyway, so that's enough of me ranting. I paid $12 for this Edward, as someone correctly pointed out on one of the comments that of either the post when I shared the pictures of these, or my diesel review. These prices are so much more than when these first came on sale. Like, when these first came on sale, they were like $8 when they were back in 2019, and even adjusting for inflation, you don't get to 12. So it is a bit of a slap in the face that this is now a $12 toy, and we've just come off having some fantastic new metal engines, which are the ones you got to see at the back there, but also some fantastic All Engines Go toys. So yeah, this one's a fail. You can probably skip Edward unless you really, really want to have him in your collection. All right, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to hearing about your views down in the comments below. This is Extreme Trains.